Hello there, everybody. This is Dude Shredder, and today we're going to talk a little bit about Overwatch. I didn't get a normal video done, so we're going to talk about Overwatch today. And you know, I've been really excited about Overwatch over the past couple of years at this point almost. And you know, when any game comes out with this amount of hype and expectation behind it, there's always that really big important question: does the game actually live up to the hype? And as you can probably see in the background, it's everything they promised it to be and more. You got 21 characters and first-person shooter gameplay with all kinds of different classes and abilities. And not being that big into shooters myself, I didn't play Counter-Strike Go at all. I didn't play much Team Fortress 2, and I'm only somewhat experienced in MOBAs. And this game is obviously a little bit influenced by MOBAs, if not actually a MOBA. But I'm familiar with team play and builds and having a tank and a healer and some DPS. So I was excited to see how those skills could translate over to Overwatch, and this be one of the first shooters that I actually get into. And so far, it definitely seems like the kind of game that I can get into. The character selection is excellent. Like I said, there are 21 different characters. They're all useful. They're all fun. They all have their own thing going on. No two characters are even close to similar. My favorites include Bastion, which is this robot who runs around with an assault rifle. But if you hit shift, he turns into a turret, which can't move, obviously, but it does a shit ton of damage. And you have Tracer, another character who's able to blink forward and backwards really fast and rewind time to get out of sticky situations, and she's good for just blinking behind enemy lines and harassing people. And there are characters that you can play without having any ability at first-person shooters, like Mercy, for instance. Her whole thing is she's a healer, but her whole thing is that she locks on, and you don't have to aim at all. You just have to prioritize healing targets and heal the people who need healed. And Winston is a little bit like that too. This big ape whose ult is he goes berserker and beats the shit out of everybody, but until then he has this lightning gun that arcs to people and does area damage, and it's just a very refreshing change. And I guess that's the whole thing this game has going for it, is that it's very, very refreshing, because it's taken the class-based shooter thing that TF2 did and it has expanded upon it and polished it so much. The game has an immense amount of personality. It had all this lore, all these cinematics that were coming out before launch, got us all really excited. And although the lore is a little woefully underrepresented in the game itself, this is open beta. So when this video is coming out, the game hasn't actually released yet. Although we've been led to believe that the game we're playing now is pretty much the full game. So let's talk about balance and game feel. I haven't played a lot of shooters online, but I've spent my whole life playing single-player shooters. I've played the Half-Life series, I've played the whole Halo series, I've played a lot of Call of Duty games and a lot of Battlefield games, and as far as shooting goes, and as far as the game having at the most fundamental level working and being about skill and the mechanics at play, I have no complaints so far. Like I said, every character is surprisingly balanced, and nothing ever feels cheap. It's always like when you die, it's always like, yes, I understand I overextended here, or this tank wasn't in place, or I didn't wait for my team to catch up with me so we could hit the point all at once. And it's a very compelling gameplay experience overall, because even when you start losing, there's in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, I can change heroes whenever I want, because you can change characters mid-battle, like Team Fortress 2. There's always another option. And the way objectives work in the game, you'll have one team attacking, one team defending. There'll be payloads sometimes where you're trying to move an objective from one end of the map to the other. There's always changes you can make to your build to counter theirs, and it's always fluid and it's always changing, and there's no snowballing. Fortunately, there's right up until the end. If you can sit on the objective while the clock runs out, even if all hope is lost, you can still make a recovery there. The graphics are fantastic. It's well optimized as far as I can tell. I'm only running about a mid-range computer. But I'm getting a solid 60 on high settings, which is nice. All the animations are fantastic. The character designs are absolutely gorgeous. But I say this being a fan of Blizzard's aesthetic style overall. The characters are all just really, really memorable, and I feel like they're enduring. I feel like these are characters that Blizzard can use to build a franchise, with hopefully with future cinematics and more lore development. And of course, the whole thing tying this gameplay experience together is the reward system. You get loot boxes, which have skins and voice lines and spray paint tags and different outfits for your characters. You know, some of the more expensive, rarer skins are completely redone character models with different outfits and different weaponry, and it's very, very rewarding. And as you level up, you know, at first it's very quick. The first few levels are just over, done. Once you about level 15 or 16, it takes a few games, you know, 4, 5, 6 games, and I imagine it'll, you know, keep becoming slower. But when you hit level 100, you prestige, which you may be familiar with from other shooters. In this game, prestiging means that you reset from level 100 back to level 1, including the amount of experience required to get to the next level. So again, the levels will be quick after you prestige. And you get a permanent border for your player profile icon that indicates, you know, how many times you've gone through the cycle. So it is a grind. It's very intentionally made to be a grind. The only thing to do is to play the game. And as of right now, choosing servers and choosing game modes is not a thing. You quick match, or you do their wacky weekly game mode, or you play against AI, or you play a private game with your friends. That's it. Not complaining though. The game modes avoid the typical team deathmatch stigma. Instead of rewarding, you know, a simple kill-death ratio, it's a mixture of objectives and payload and point capturing game modes, where team play is more important, and having tanks is more important, and healers are more important. And it plays into the entire the whole multifaceted. Any skill set works as long as you're working together and you have map awareness. The game itself is extremely simplistic. The characters have very clearly defined abilities. And, you know, with games like League of Legends, you have runes and glyphs and shit you can set up before the battle to give yourself incredibly small statistic advantages, and then when you actually start the match, there are tons of items to buy, and you have to get this build together. Overwatch doesn't have any of that shit. You pick a character. If that character's good, you play him for a little bit. You decide that character's no good, you can switch to another character in the middle of the match. Luckily, the huge variety of characters and the huge variety of movement gives a lot of depth and freedom for experimentation in the game. A lot of characters can move vertically, like Pharah. She can jump high as shit, and she has a jetpack, and she has a rocket launcher. And Junkrat can throw down landmines and rocket jump across stuff, and Widowmaker can grappling hook onto rooftops. The mobility in itself, I mean, even if the characters didn't have actual unique combat abilities, just the movement itself brings in all these strategies, and the maps are very well designed for this, with little secret paths for each different type of character. And while the characters are divided into their 4 archetypes, you know, attack, defense, support, something else, I don't know. they all do serve their own individual role. Let's see. So, do I think Overwatch actually has a future? Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm going to keep playing it, and it was absolutely worth the hype. The gameplay mechanics and just how solid everything is very encouraging. It's a game that really encourages you to invest a lot into it. And there's a lot of room for improvement, and the game very clearly telegraphs to you how you can improve. With the different character archetypes and everybody having a very clear-cut skill set, when you fail, you know why you failed, and you know how to improve. And I feel like that is the key to a really, really, really good multiplayer game, and I'm sure a lot of people agree with that. But let me know what you thought about this in the comments section below. I'm not gonna lie, I'm making this video partially because I wanted to do a video about Overwatch, partially because I don't have footage ready. But I also just wanted to see how this format works. You know, just me sitting here talking about a topic. But please engage in the comments section below and give this video a good old thumbs down, and subscribe if you like, and come back later and watch more videos. It'll be great. See ya.